Bonin is sitting in the cockpit's right-hand seat. His captain, Dubois, is sitting on the left. Robert is taking the regulation sleep break in the small cabin to the rear of the cockpit. Things also seem relaxed in the cockpit.
Tout va bien?
Tout va bene.
Tout va bien? Pas de café, de thé?
Tout va bien. Ça ira. À tout à l'heure.
Merci.
They're making radio calls, passing position reports to air traffic control. It's all pretty quiet. In the middle of the Atlantic, in the middle of the night, there's not much to do.
But several other flights crossing the zone that night do decide to divert around the storm.
Il neige. 209 nœuds. Il y a un truc droit devant, et il y en a un autre derrière. Hein? Oh merde, non. Baisse un peu la lumière intérieure pour voir dehors. Ouais. J'allume les feux pour voir. Ah, voilà. Quoi? On dirait qu'on va rentrer dans les zones nuageuses.
1:51 a.m. Now the dimmed cockpit is suddenly lit up.
Ah, bah manquait plus que ça. C'est quoi ça? C'est tout ce qu'il nous fallait, monsieur de Saint-Elme.
Veteran pilot Dubois recognizes the bright flashes as St. Elmo's fire, a spectacular electrical phenomenon common in the tropics.
J'avais pas l'impression qu'il allait y avoir de l'orage. Il va y avoir des turbulences quand j'irai dormir.
David Robert, who was having a break in the small cabin at the rear of the cockpit, will shortly swap places with Captain Dubois.
Bon, bah y a plus qu'à le réveiller, hein, c'est ça?
Before Robert arrives, Captain Dubois wants to establish who's going to fly the plane while he's on his break.
Ouais, c'est qui le pose? C'est toi? Bon, lui, il va prendre ma place.
This means Bonin, with the least amount of flying hours on his record, will pilot the plane until the captain returns.
T'as dormi? Moyen. T'as pas dormi? Il a dit moyen. Bon, allez, je me casse. Bon, ça va. Bon, les petites turbulences qu'on vient d'avoir, t'auras les mêmes après?
Minutes after Captain Dubois leaves the flight deck, the weather deteriorates.
On va les appeler à la veille pour leur dire.
Oui?
Oui, Marilyn, c'est Pierre devant. Dis-moi, dans 2 minutes, on devrait passer une zone où ça devrait bouger un peu plus. Il faudra vous méfier.
D'accord. On s'assoit alors?
Ouais, je pense que ça serait pas mal. Je te rappelle dès qu'on est sorti de là. Vache, heureusement que c'était la 330, hein. C'est clair. Moins 42 degrés.
Robert suggests changing course to avoid the storm clouds.
Tu veux pas tirer un peu plus sur la gauche, là? Excuse-moi? J'ai dit, tu veux pas un peu plus tirer sur la gauche?
As Bonin steers the plane 12 degrees to the left, a sharp, chlorine-like smell spreads through the cockpit.
T'as touché la clim? J'ai rien touché du tout. Si c'est pas la clim, c'est quoi cette odeur? C'est l'ozone.
Robert, who's flown many trips across the tropics, instantly recognizes the strange smell, but it seems to startle his younger colleague.
C'est quoi ça? C'est un rapport avec la gravité? Non, l'ozone, c'est de l'air chargé d'électricité. Non.
2:10 a.m. A loud sound is heard in the cockpit. Experts analyzing the black box tape believe it's the sound of ice crystals hitting the aircraft. Then, an alarm is triggered. The alarm warns the crew that the autopilot has shut down and handed control back to them.
J'ai les commandes. D'accord.
Bonin is sitting in the right-hand seat and takes manual control of the plane. His more experienced colleague, Robert, is now effectively co-pilot. What the crew don't realize is that the plummeting temperature has caused ice to block 3 vital sensors, called pitos.
The pitot system, which basically detects the speed of the air against the aircraft, ended up becoming blocked. Therefore, that effectively dropped to 0 and they lost all speed indication.
The aeroplane, while it's in autopilot, suddenly said, we know we're getting rubbish information here. We cannot deal with rubbish information, therefore we're going to trip the autopilot out and hand it back to the pilots. This is where they start earning their money.
But it's not an emergency. It just means that there is no forward speed information. In theory, when the ice melts, the pitot sensors will work again.
The drill is do nothing. Literally, just fly the aircraft, continue to fly it straight and level, leave the power where it is, because it's been working pretty well for you up until this point.
Bonin controls the plane with a side stick.
He had the side stick in his right hand, and he just yanked it.
Qu'est-ce que vous en pensez? Ça n'affiche pas la bonne vitesse. On a perdu la vitesse, c'est ça?
Now, another alarm rings out. The stall warning.
A stall happens when the aircraft is going too slowly for the wings to produce sufficient lift, and therefore the aircraft starts to drop, it starts to fall. It stops flying, starts
But Bonin doesn't put the nose down. He keeps the stick back, and the aircraft gains even more altitude, whilst continuing to lose speed. The black box records show that one of the 3 speed sensors that had frozen now starts working again.
Fais attention à ta vitesse. Fais attention à ta vitesse. Ok, je redescends. Stabilise. Ouais.
And that's really where things went from a very benign circumstance to a rapidly escalating, out-of-control circumstance.
Robert presses the crew call button. He wants to get Captain Dubois back from his break and onto the flight deck. But there's no answer.
Il vient ou il vient pas?
Air France 447 is now 7 miles above the sea and still climbing. Now, at nearly 38,000 feet, Flight 447 starts to drop.
On a pourtant les moteurs. Qu'est-ce qui se passe, bordel? Tu comprends ce qui se passe ou pas? J'ai plus le contrôle de l'avion. J'ai plus du tout le contrôle de l'avion. Merde. C'est quoi, là? Je crois qu'on va trop vite.
Just under a minute after he was first called, Captain Dubois returns to the cockpit, taking the jump seat behind the younger officers.
Bon, qu'est-ce qui se passe, là? Qu'est-ce que vous foutez? Mais qu'est-ce qui se passe? Qu'est-ce qui se passe? Je sais pas ce qui se passe. Vers le contrôle de l'avion. On a totalement perdu le contrôle de l'avion. On comprend rien. On a tout tenté. Alors tiens, prends ça. Prends ça. Le problème, c'est que j'ai plus de l'avion. D'accord.
The variometer, the instrument that measures the vertical speed of the aircraft, has stopped working.
J'ai plus rien qui s'affiche. On n'a pas une seule indication valide.
Because Bonin is still pulling the stick back, the nose is up and the plane is stalling.
Je crois qu'on va à une vitesse de fou, là. Qu'est-ce que vous en pensez?
He thinks the plane is going too fast and moves to put on the air brakes. David Robert rapidly overrules the man flying the plane.
Non, non, surtout sors pas les freins. Non? Ok. Les sors pas.
The aircraft now falls to below 30,000 feet, but they still have time to recover the situation.
Les ailes sont à l'horizontale, non? Les ailes à plat. Allez, redresse. Sur l'horizon. Sur l'horizon? On tire, qu'est-ce que t'en penses? Qu'est-ce que t'en penses? Qu'est-ce qu'il faut faire? Je sais pas. Descends. Non, tu montes là. Je monte là? Alors on descend. Tu montes? Merde, c'est pas possible.
The stall alarm, having rung 58 times, now cuts out.
The computer stopped telling the pilots that the aircraft was stalled because it had gone into realms that the computer just didn't.
The ocean is now just 20,000 feet below the rapidly descending plane.
The aircraft went down that way with an average rate of descent of 10,000 to 15,000 feet a minute. That is quite a lot. And that means there was an awful noise.
Ça y est, on va arriver au niveau centre. Flying through, they saw flight level 100, which is 10,000 feet. I think that was a point where we went from, we have some time to figure this thing out, to like, we might not be able to save ourselves.
This aircraft was falling out of the sky like a stone. It was absolutely not flying. It was falling. And it was falling with its nose pointed upwards.
Remonte, 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 remonte! Je cadre à fond là depuis tout à l'heure.
Captain Dubois now gets the vital information. He realizes Bonin has been pulling back on the stick, pushing the nose up, and stalling the aircraft. To get out of the stall, Robert knows he must get the nose of the plane pointing downwards.
Alors donne-moi les commandes, à moi les commandes. Vas-y, fais les commandes. Attention, tu cabres. Je cabre, tu cabres. Je cabre. Il faudrait là, on est à 4000 pieds. Tu cabres là.
The aircraft was mushing down like that, nose in the air, and it was mushing down through the sky like that.
As they near 2,000 feet, the aircraft's ground proximity warning system detects the ocean below, and a new warning sounds.
Pull up! Pull up! Sink rate. Pull up!
Allez, tire.
Pull up!
Allez, on tire. On tire, on tire, on tire.
Pull up!
On va taper.
Pull up!
Mais c'est pas vrai.
Pull up!
Qu'est-ce qui se passe? 10 degrés d'assiette.
The recording stops at 02 hours, 14 minutes, 28.4 seconds.